Hey guys, back with another Maplestory video here. This time, a highly requested solo art guide. Just came out last patch, less than a week ago. I've been playing on my bishop, just trying to get the hang of it, do it daily as much as I can. Honestly, I fail sometimes. It's tough. It's tough. I think it's going to get easier, obviously. Hopefully this guide helps you guys. Now, the thing about solo arc is it's not like Hard Magnus. It's not even like Arc Multi, where the rotation is the same every single time. It actually has a set rotation at the start, and I'll mention that, but then it eventually changes when screen crack happens depending on what skills it sort of comes during or after. I'll talk about it more in detail, but the main thing is that reps. Record your runs, learn from your runs, and get better. Positioning, kiting is huge, and expect to die. Expect to fail. Don't worry about time. Clear is a clear. I'm telling you, it's a daily run. The main goal is to use as little buffs as possible, as little PEs, as little buffs, as little fevers, buff freezers, whatever it is, because it's daily, right? You're trying to just not wear out your resources. So that is the main goal. It sucks. If you're a class that doesn't have an iframe or has a long iframe, you're going to eat some screen cracks. That's just how it is. Current meta, it sucks. I'm going to talk about more on my podcast. It got to be changed. Something has to change for that. If they're putting out content where you just have no answer for, like if you're putting out solo content that some classes just cannot, like are just meant to die every single day on every single run, they can't avoid the mechanic, then what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? There's no skill cap to that. That's not fun. Just like knowing the inevitable is going to happen. Nothing to do with your gear, nothing to do with what type of player you are. Even sometimes like the more geared you are, the more you're going to die, right? Because you're just not going to have, you're going to eat 3 screen cracks in 20 seconds and you're going to do so much damage and burst. You can have 3 screen cracks in 20 seconds and just not have an iframe for 2 of them. And just eat it. It's brutal. So hope this helps you guys. There's a lot of little tips and tricks that I've learned just in the few days that I've cleared. Thank you for watching. Now I'm going to show the gameplay. Here we are on the bishop, full buffed, 39k magic attack, 16 mil cap, giving it a go. And for starters, let's start off with the initial intro, kind of skill rotation. I'm gonna be honest, there's a start to it, a first few kind of skills that it goes through that's consistent, but I've noticed that once he starts to do screen cracks, the rotation sort of gets messed up, but he does have some combos or sort of some cues that he does consistently, not always, but just sort of things that you want to look out for the main skills. So the main skills for solo arc is the first skill, which is the snake strike. So right off the bat, he's going to do a snake strike, and you just want to make sure that you see that kind of build up. You don't get hit by that. Yeah. Prime example, you don't want that to happen. But you do see that you get 4 lives, I think 5. Make sure you get a Bishop's Heaven's Door if it's possible. I obviously didn't. That extra life helps. I remember, this reminds me of Hard Magnus. Back in the day, doing solo, every life matters. And you're going to die. You're going to die. It happens. It's not going to be perfect runs, especially when you're sort of in between HP, defense, where you still get one-shotted by everything. You can't, like this bishop won't survive a lightning. It doesn't have 120k HP. So there are things that a lot of solo players kind of have to deal with and juggle with in order to clear this consistently. And the main goal is to clear it consistently enough without having to maximize buffs. And fair trade number 1, you need that crit rate. It's very, very difficult I've tried on a mythic Demon Slayer. It's just so much harder without the 100% crits. Not saying it's impossible, but it's much more challenging. So right off the bat, I'm going to talk about Snake Strike. Then he's going to do these. Let me just back up real quick. Sorry about that. So Snake Strike. You'll see I die here. I just try to position behind it as much as possible when you see the animations or when he stops moving. And then the next skill, I resist it, which is, you'll see swords. I call it swords because swords, what follows, I think every single time what I've noticed is lightning. So that's a good cue for lightning. You see, I almost die right there, but I dodge it. And the next skill after that is Magic Crash. So bishops have the ability to dispel it. Didn't work right there, but you'll see throughout this fight that I do dispel it. And then after this is Blue Orb, range it. You just know it's coming, it's slower, and then Damage Reflect. It's a long cast. Don't waste your lives dying to Damage Reflect. All right? And there's just so many things to worry about. You just can't die to Damage Reflect. And then he does this little skill right here where he puts the little detonation on the ground. And you notice the next skill after this, another tip and trick, is he's going to do Snake Strike. Always after this. You see that he did it right there? I dodged it. Survived. Right? And then ideally get him out of this corner so I can see what skills he's doing. So get him out behind the skill wheel. You saw that lightning into Magic Crash. And this is where it starts to get a little bit shaky with the rotation. Because of screen crack here, it should have been DR. But it seemed to have skipped it. Right? You notice that. Kind of back to the beginning, you'll notice he does a certain rotation. Once he does screen crack, skills get skipped and the rotation sort of gets all thrown off. So I shelled here and to avoid the screen crack, and shell actually saves me from basically getting hit by any attack, physical attack, which is why I didn't die to that Snake Strike right there. So again, we'll repeat this. I mean, this is super important. I know this is going to make a long video, but I think you guys have to understand that the rotation kind of goes to crap once he does screen crack. Everything's you kind of have to reset and just look for animation cues and know sort of cues and what sequences he does. And that just takes reps and times. And it's still early, but it's only been like less than a week since it came out. So there's going to be more cues and practice and reps and things like that. But this is the stuff that I noticed, right? Magic Crash, screen crack comes up, so no DR, shell, and then right here is Snake Strike. It's not like this always, right? Your screen crack may come at a different time, and it may not skip that DR. For those bishop users, shell does not immune lightning. Magic Crash again, then DR, right? Orb. Then DR. Okay. That's what I meant. So all these skills are pretty useless. And you'll notice that on my bishop specifically, and I think for a lot of classes, you notice I'm always trying to kite. I'm trying to stay out of range from the Snake Strike. I'm trying to stay out of the blue orb range. But most importantly, I'll talk about it. I'm trying to stay out of range for when he petrifies. So Magic Crash right here, dispel it. And I understand bishops are pretty much the only class that can dispel that skill. Warriors actually, I take that back, Warriors have Magic Crash. But all those other classes, you can't do anything about it. It sucks. It's a pain. I wish there was something you could do. I haven't found a way around it. I haven't, unless you stun it. But in those cases, you just got to kite. Since you can't attack it, there's no point in trying to be within range. Just run away to the corners, dash, teleport back and forth here and there. So you see now, detonation on the ground, Snake Strike, right? I'm trying to range it. Don't range it, dead again. So use this guide, use my run as an example of what not to do, right? You got to be quick. You got to anticipate. You got to prepare and be preemptive about it. Because if you're reacting, it's going to be too late. There's a lot going on. You die. It happens. I died twice in the first minute and a half. I clear this. Just got to keep grinding. Keep doing the reps. Record your runs. Highly recommend record your runs because you see things. I learn a lot. In the moment, I don't see any of this stuff. I forget half of it. But after I watch it back, that's when I learn and kind of pick up on these cues, right? So that skill does nothing. That's why I didn't move. I attacked. Magic Crash. You kind of can see screen crack again. So now this is where I rotate through my ethereal form as a mage. I'm always trying to rotate shell and ethereal form. And so if you don't know, screen crack comes in around the 20%, 40%, or I guess you get 80% remaining, 60 kind of ish percent. And I think it comes around here and here. We'll find out exactly. But I'm trying to make sure that I have either shell or ethereal form up for each one of these. And for whatever class, if you don't have an iframe, you're screwed. And I think that's pretty much only some archers, unfortunately, right? Warriors have their V3, mages have their ethereal form, thieves have dark sight, things like that. You're not going to have, the thing is, you're not going to have iframes out for every single one. You just got to deal with it, right? It just is what it is. Some classes have tons of iframes, some classes have none. You're going to die. It happens. That's solo content. Unfortunately, I wish, like, maybe for things to come, they're going to give everybody shorter cooldown iframes. But, like, maybe this is a reason for us to push for it for solo content in order to allow us to have screen cracks, mechanics, right? Not just be kind of screwed by what class you play and not have anything available for that huge mechanic. It's brutal. It really is. I'm going to push for it. I'm going to talk about it in my podcast later. It needs to be changed or something, right? You can't just be dying to a screen crack every time, every 3 screen cracks. That just doesn't make sense. But you're going to go through it here. Lightning, avoid that. Magic Crash, Dispel, Orb, and then DR, right? That's the rotation. Oh, Magic Crash again. So screen crack, threw it off, and now DR. See, those are the things that it is what it is. I don't have to spell up Magic Crash. And now what I should be doing is getting out of the way. But you see, I'm just trying to position back and forth. But I make this mistake right here because now a Petrify comes up. I got to toggle back and forth. I'm very slow on it. And there's a possibility, there's a chance you'll see later in this run that next skill while I'm petrified is Orb, is Snake Strike, is Lightning, and I'm going to die. Which is why I highly recommend that you outrange it. When you just try to kite as much as possible, when Blue Orb is up, when Damage Reflect is up, and blanking on it. Magic Crash, whatever you call it. Magic Crash and DR is up and you can't attack it, just outrange it. Get to the corners, go back and forth in case Petrify comes up. But here, Detonation, Snake's dead. 3rd time's the charm. Great. Love that for me. 2 lives, 1 life left. Lightning, barely got out of there. Not playing great, right? This is what runs are going to be like. Hopefully your runs are smoother than mine. Petrify. Try to outrange it. Magic Crash, Petrify, Magic Crash, DR. No rhyme or reason for that skill rotation right there. It is what it is, right? Just got to adjust. Petrify. See, I outrange it here. Detonation, Snake Strike. Please dodge that. Love that. So, only takes 3 minutes. Only takes 3 deaths to kind of pick it up, but I do. DR. Magic Crash. And you see me trying to dispel that and just trying to get out of the way, right? There's Petrify again. Magic Crash. Just weird. DR again. So this happens, right? This is brutal. Absolutely brutal. You can't do anything about it. Just range. Just don't attack. You can attack. See right here? Petrify again. If I was in range and I wasn't kiting, lightning would have killed me. Right? Just avoid it. Snake Strike. Somehow survive that. Just not... Was that a Snake Strike into a... So lightning, Magic Crash into Snake Strike. So the rotation is all messed up. You can get Snake Strike whenever you want. You just got to be preemptive, reactive, whatever it is. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. It's frustrating, especially when all of these skills one-shot you. I get it. Get your Heaven's Door. Prepare to die. Don't get frustrated. Have your buff freezers. You got to do it daily. You have a chance for a primal with these. I mean, solo players, you got to do it. You got to do it. So there's swords. There's DR. Not what we anticipated at all. Like I talked about in the first skill rotation, everything's backwards. Everything's all messed up. Petrify, get out of the way. Magic Crash again. Just so much uptime. I don't even know how many times I've attacked in this last minute, right? This is a brutal cycle. This is why these fights can get very, very long. You have to be extremely patient. You have to kite. It doesn't matter about your time. A clear is a clear. It does not matter. Snake Strike, watch out. Heads up. Ooh, dodged it. It doesn't matter about your time. A clear is a clear. Save as much buffs as possible. Buff freezers, things like that. And shell right there. Petrify. Orb. Only survive that. See, again, lesson learned. But that's unfortunate. That's just unfortunate. Sometimes that happens. I was able to have shell up for that, so I didn't die. DR. Just run. Run. Right? Just try to kite. Petrify again. Lightning. Dead. Right? I talked about it. I'm at 40% left. 4.5 minutes. It's a long ways away. And I have no lives left. Absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. I've made a ton of mistakes and lucky. Snake Strike right there. Somehow survived that. I have no idea how. Watch the orb or DR or something. Lightning. Get out of there. Magic Crash. Dispel it. Put down my heal. Orb. Just trying to be teleporting as much as possible. Just trying to get behind him. Just trying to get behind him as much as possible. And trying to get to the corners when I can attack. Petrify. Right there. You can kind of see the animation coming, right? It's purple. I used my ethereal form right there. So that was a little panic, but I just wanted to be safe, right? I used my ethereal form right here not to die, even though it wasn't something that would kill me. Detonation, Snake Strike, survived it. But now, right here, I'm sort of waiting to try not to attack too much, to wait for my shell cooldown to come back up, because I'm pretty sure there's one more screen crack available, and I just don't want to get caught without shell. So I'm sort of just kiting. You can see I'm not attacking even when I can. I'm attacking here and there, but I'm just trying to play it safe, get out of there. Magic Crash, DR, just waiting for that cooldown to go off. It's just kind of part of the game, right? Watch out for that. Petrify, try to outrange it. And shell's back up. Now I can play a little bit more aggressive, trying to make sure Snake Strike, and then do damage. DR, run away. Oh, there, see, perfect, right? Screen crack. So this is that moment right here. So there was none. So there's one here, and one at 20%. So there's none at the 40% mark. Am I blind? There must not be. Let's just watch this back real quick. Sorry. Not prepared, but this is sort of how I do my guides. Oh, there. Yeah. Okay. So that was it. And then, so there's 3 and then 4 at 20%. Screen crack. So you got to have one for here, 20%, or 80%, whatever you want to call it, 60%, 40%, 20%. And unlike in multi-mode, there's no cycling of screen cracks every 15 or 30 seconds, whatever it is. I think this is just the last screen crack. We're about to find out. So I had something up for that one available. Now I'm just trying to be patient. Watch for Snake Strike there. Oh, not Snake Strike. So Petrify, trying to get out of there. Lightning, teleport out. I brought my cooldowns back up at the 6-minute mark. So I'm trying to do a little bit of DPS. This is where I do most of my damage. What would be really nice, highly recommended, is having a stun. If you don't have, you're like a bishop, don't have one, Will of Urda, or Urda Nova, I think it's called, is the stun, the V skill. You can craft it. Highly recommend it. I think it's a 3-minute cooldown. It's long, but if you have windows to maximize damage and do DPS, use it. I would highly recommend use it. Maybe skipping a damage reflect or something. It's just a nice way to get your damage in. It's only 94 bill. Feels like a lot. It takes me a long time, but it gets better, right? Time does not matter. I'm just sort of playing safe-ish and just kind of learning on the fly, right? It's very reactive, and you can tell, like I mentioned, there's not any rhyme or reason or system to the skill rotation, right? How's that one? That was lucky. I think Heaven's Door saved me there. Brutal. So just a lot of misplays. Bishops have a lot of answers, though. Heaven's Door's up. Like, I should have dodged this for sure. Like, I saw that the detonation. Heaven's Door saved me. And I down it, I think, right here. Brutal. brutal. But I hope you guys learned some things from this. Watch this back. Kind of listen to what I have to say, the tips and tricks about just what to look for. Anticipate, skill-wise, when Snake Strike is coming, when Shell is coming, how to answer that. And I've tried everything for Shell. I've tried Will of Urda, Hero's Door, or Will of Urda, Hero's Will, Dispels, doesn't work. I tried to outrange it up from up above, like jump high and blink, and doesn't work. I tried to stun it. Screen Crack is nothing. You need Shell, or whatever's like Shell, which I think Bishop may only be the only class or another class, or you have to use an iframe. And I think maybe not every class has an iframe, or you have long cooldown iframes. It just sucks. Right now it sucks for all the classes. They just don't have an answer to Shell. But you can see you don't need, having obviously HP helps, but you don't need it. You just have to know kind of what kills you, what doesn't. Snake Strike is the big one. Don't die to DR. Like, you just can't die to DR. And focus on positioning back and forth when he petrifies, because you just don't want to get caught in a petrify with your hands tied, and he does a one-shot skill, basically. So I hope this helps you guys. Record your runs. Practice. It gets easier over time. This is just how runs are going to go. It's not going to be perfect, 0 deaths. At first, it'll get better, but you can see it's not easy. It's not like Hard Magnus and things like that where it's a set rotation. It varies a lot, and your runs, because when your screen cracks happen, is going to affect your skill rotations. So thank you for watching. Hope this helps. Get those clears. Doesn't matter about time. Be patient. Get it done. Play defensive. You'll get better. Just get those clears. Good luck on those primals, those shards. Solo players. Can't complain. 108 HP. I saw it was 94 last time. All right. Well, there you go. 108 bill. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.